We're back, and I'll see how late I can stay up because I used up a lot of energy watching Alabama. And all I can say is, I wish we had an extra minute on that clock. Whew, 31-29. Awesome game, though. Now we get to find out what the heck Gina was lying about in that case. So let's do it. Like you said, it all happened 2 months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shoved me in the witness stand, and based on your testimony, Mr. McGildy was declared innocent. Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a whole bunch of stuff. I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about? I was hiding under the seat that night. That was the truth. Okay, that was the thing we thought she might be lying about.
Right.
It was pitch black in that little cubbyhole. I couldn't see a thing, and then I heard that loud thud, like someone fall on the floor. And that's when Mr. McGildy discovered you? Yeah. He pulled me out from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at my hands, I had the cove's blood all over him. I was so scared I couldn't even speak. You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight.
Which is what we thought.
Then Mr. McGildy started asking you questions, I suppose? Who you were and why you were hiding under your seat. Yeah, he did, only that's not all. What do you mean? I mean, he threatened me. Threatened you how? He made me swear about what I'd seen and what I'd heard. And about what he was going to do after the cove was found dead. He made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If I did that, he said he'd let me scarp her before the coppers showed up. Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. I mean, he's dead, so...
Whoa.
Whoa, okay, what you saw, what you heard after the event. What do you think?
Go in order.
Alright. You said Miss Gilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw, but you were in the pitch-black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you? Yes, with Mr. McGildy sitting above your head, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's true, but it was when I heard... Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
It was when I heard the thud of the cove in the floor. I let out a little scream, see? Couldn't help it. McGildy heard that and dragged me out by my arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the old geezer, what had been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny. A disc? Do you mean... Yeah, that's it. The one what the D took off me at Windibanks. So the music box disc was there on the floor of the omnibus. Not for long, McGildy spotted it straight away. He picked it up, smartish, and stuffed it in his inside pocket. So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder. And the bog trotter told me I weren't to mutter a word of it to no one. Wonder what's so special about the disc. Because it was so dark under that seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin. Presumably, that was McGildy getting on board. Nah, not only him. Oh. Because I could definitely make out the footsteps of 2 people. In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGildy and the victim, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGildy claimed he slept during the carriage ride. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. And your own testimony, Gina, supported his. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Yeah, that weren't exactly true. Neither of them was asleep. I could hear him talking the whole time in low voices. What? What were they talking about? Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses, the wheels was too loud. But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilden and the victim knew each other. So McGilden was lying, as I suspected. I knew it weren't going to take long before someone raised the alarm that the bloke had been killed. Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly. So when the cab came to a stop, McGilda told me to hide back under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two coves from up top ran off to get the coppers. Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. Right, and after they'd gone, McGilda asked the driver to do him a favor. Favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas. A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street? Yep, you got it. It was Windibanks. The coachee snapped up the money and ran off to pop this coat as fast as he could. So then, there was no one left in the carriage. McGill had opened the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions. I see. What were McGilden's conditions, then? For letting you go free, I mean. Not telling a soul, not for anything, about what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well. There's more? Yeah, this is the most important thing, he said. I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all? You asked him to go pop your weasel, right? Aye. The fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand? What? You want me to have the ticket? That's right, and I'll come fetch it from you later, sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then, is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it. Alright then. And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windibank so it is, and you're to extend the loan afore the 2 months is up. If ye forget, the article will be forfeited and any old fiend could come along and buy it. But I ain't got that kind of brass. Here's £5, that should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now. If you go against me, yeah, I get it. Good, and one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt. The coppers? Aye. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say, what is it that you won't? After he'd gone over it all, I piked it. Got as far away from there as I could. He hid the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark. So McGill had planned it, and coerced Gina into giving false testimony. I bet you're ready to string me up, eh? I lied in that big old courtroom. I told some corkers. The thing is, he said he would make it so he couldn't live in the East End no more. That's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man. He knew everything what went on in the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, getting by together. So you mean Mr. McGilden would have, in an heartbeat, could have had the lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then, where could we have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. So, I didn't have no choice. Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything. But, I'm for it now, eh? Go on, admit it, you must be livid. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor. Favor? What? Sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us. Investigate what? The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see. You what? Hurley's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? Is he gonna be alright? Sholmes is gonna be alright, right? That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything. Right. So what you're saying is if I sign the bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it? Something like that. Miss Usato? Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. I don't need no one to stick up for me, though. No lawyer or nothing. Poor Ginny. She seems so lonely. Gina's representation papers have been entered into the court record. Well, at least that should mean we can investigate the scene of Windibanks now. Yes, and perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there? I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windibanks. Although something tells me he's not going to be happy about it.
So remember, we have those cameras there that take a picture every 30 minutes.
Yep. So we have some stuff at our disposal. I'm guessing we'll probably be able to investigate the cameras while we're there. Here's the thing, though. She didn't see when the murder happened.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's heavily implied he did it, we're still not 100%.
Right, and while she's sitting next to him in one of the photographs, he doesn't have the knife in his chest.
Yeah, so I'm really... And I don't think that's an overlooked detail. I think it's something that if you're observant, you can tell. So I still wonder... He's not a good person, which you kind of got at the end of the third case anyway. But I'm still very curious about the whole story. Because I highly doubt... It doesn't seem like Gina really knows. She only knows what she heard, saw, and was told by him. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust those representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship? How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through that door behind the counter. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business, then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. And that's another thing, we don't know what the heck they're investigating that's so important. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then, let us not waste any time.
See if we can find the camera.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like...
Are they gone?
I don't think they're gone. Well, let's take a look at this. That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh, well, this would be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Grexy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Grexy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night, through that little window in the door. Mr. Windibank face down on the floor with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry, if there are any clues in there, I'll find them.
Is there a child in there?
Yeah, but she's got the mind of someone older. There's the article ledger here in Mr. Windibank's notes, and what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back, there's some writing. Is there? Ooh, show us, Susie, show us. February 15, 10:30. Article deposited, one gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, April 15, 10:30. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clear was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, that must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilden. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand. Aww. But this photograph of a cat, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I thought we already saw this. When did we see this?
I don't remember.
I don't either. Oh yes, you're right, very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print. Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out. Alright, let the cogs turn. Yes, they are exactly the same. Hee, I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. Secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Hee, do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints, the one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that is hidden between these two identical prints? Actually, that's not quite right. Yeah, because something looks off.
They're
the cat's
not identical.
Yeah, the cat's looking a little bit to our left
Yeah.
on the left picture. If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. Yep. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other?
Yes.
I think so. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh yes, that's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see, there it is, just over there. Ah, yes, of course, that magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions. What, really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Okay. We're ahead of you. Let's see how they work. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just open them and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away what you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. Ha! My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consists of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'll be able to see depth in these prints. Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand. A stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? Let's try it. Let's see if you can view these pair of prints without a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes, that's the main thing. Can you both do that? Cross my eyes. I think I can. Watch me and see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? There, how's that? Wonderful, now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print, slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this. You try now, Runo. I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose. Did the print split into two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this and then to try crossing your eyes again. The print should slowly merge together. They form a new single image in the center. Oh yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see in the middle now. It looks so real! Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Like this, is it? There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. Now, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here, then set the pair of photographs in the stand at the back, and it's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures. I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. We certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll never actually need. Alright. Time to go into the storeroom.
Told you not to bring a kid in there.
Poor Iris, she's cleaned up completely. Yes, but she's the ladyship, so Gregson let her. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah! Wait, Inspector. What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do ya? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Eh? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine. I told you not to get under my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Sholm's operation is going. Okay, so let's do some examination and then we'll talk with him. This is a revolver, a real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Bruno look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with us yesterday, didn't we? I'll have to take my own life. It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole on the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in this revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun had been fired, so we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them.
So it's a little bit of a problem because, Sholmes is shot.
Yeah.
That'll be 2 bullets.
Yeah, so I have to think the people we saw in the shadows either had their own gun or used that one on Sholmes. But either way, yeah, there was definitely a second gun. Can't believe how many there are. bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look. Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policemen shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank, he was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. Aha! I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see. When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing? Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch. Oh, the color of the bloodstain has changed. There, does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes, how wonderful. The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. Flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great. So, whose blood are we looking at, then? This must be Mr. Windibank's blood. Yes, this is where he was shot, so there can't be any question of that. This could turn out to be a very valuable clue, so we simply must take a note of it. Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have reagent left, sure. Alright, of all the articles in the storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. Ah, what is it, Iris?
Where her manuscript was?
That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh. Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it, without telling you.
How does Susato know?
We must check inside the box at once. Well, she hasn't said yet, so I still don't know. Ah. It was there. Iris' story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited here, but still, it's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown.
Didn't it say something Williams? Wilson.
Yeah. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Doesn't look like there's anything else. And... there we go. Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling there. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean? Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wonder if Susato-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, yes, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget.
We just present it to her?
Let me see if we can talk to her. Yeah, right now doesn't look like we can. Okay, now let's talk to him. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw, you've got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like, nothing more, nothing less. Irish, could you lend me a hand? So, Grexy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, ma'am, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible. Oh. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. No. Presumably, it's the gun that's still down here on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Unless there's a reason, like in case 2, with the locked door.
What do you mean?
We were inside.
Oh, like the... yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Grexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright, is he? Well, the thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No, the operation is done and dusted. It's just that, well, out with it. Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing, renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body anesthesia. Oh my god. I'm so bad today. The whole body anesthetic. How? Honey, help me out. Stop laying there watching me do this.
Anesthetized?
Anesthetized. Okay. Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my. No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in the system or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes round again. Hurley. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. Ticket, blood samples, portfolio. Let's present this. Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles. A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And I don't suppose... Will there be any mention of my humble self in the tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't do anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? What? I didn't mean it like that, and even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Dr. Gregson, can you give me your opinion? We don't tend to share, Sunshine, not with the general public. In that case, Gregson, how about some herbal tea? Of course. He likes his tea. Ah, lovely. Very much. That hit the spot. I don't think he has anything to add on this. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the main shop.
Maybe we get to present it with her to her there.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Oh, that looks like blood. I would say it's from a gloved finger, almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Ooh, purple. Look at that. Yeah, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We must simply add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood... Oh, you have an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
No idea.
Let's say I think I do. Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color term, with a little deduction. That's right, I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe this is the blood of...
Gina?
Well... Let me think.
Well, it can't be Windibank. Because he's blue.
Yeah, I could see it being Thrice-Fired Mason.
How?
Because...
Oh, it's a different jacket?
I mean, the blood could be on it. I mean, whoever handed that thing to them... Like, whoever handed this in... Either it's their blood or it's blood that rubbed off. Because this is from the guy, from the carriage operator. He handed this in, so... Or maybe we can just say it's Magilda because it's purple, so it probably matches his purple outfit.
No. We know Magilda didn't come in there, right?
He
What's
didn't.
the date on there?
Now, let's see. It's February 15, 10:30.
So it's around the same time that Gina came in, right? It's gotta be Gina's.
But why would she be bleeding?
Because she hid the ticket in the bushes and came back and got it from the scene a day later?
But this isn't the redemption ticket, is it? Like, what was the
She
description
went
again?
to deposit it that night.
But I thought he did. I thought the Stagecoach guy did.
Oh, you're right.
She got the redemption ticket. This is the ticket.
So that's the deposit ticket?
That's the redemption ticket.
This
is
one.
This is. Yeah. So.
Then I guess it's Mason.
Well, let's go with Mason. Thrice-Fired Mason? You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case, and of course I never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case. Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibank's yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilder was also wearing leather gloves that night. I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilder had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood in the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. You hear that, honey? That means I sound like Mr. Sholmes.
Me too.
Yeah. I feel like you're usually the one who's figuring this out, so I guess this is me being you for a second.
Yay!
Yeah. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Bruno. Very well. Let's make a note of this.
Where's these cameras?
Don't know. This officer has been staring intently at the wall before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we might tell Grexy at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. Ha! They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. Ah, look here.
Whoa, there's blood over here.
Alright, let's get the color. A bullet hole. You can see the bullet still lodged in the wall. Presumably, Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Ah, well. Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. Doesn't do it often? He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that for now, Bruno. Let's examine this bullet. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha, that's where I come in. Oh,
That's
right.
not where what's his nuts was shot, right? Sholmes.
It might have been where Mr. Sholmes was shot. If the blood changes to be the same color as the sample from the storeroom, we'll know that it's Mr. Windibank's blood. Exactly, here we go then. Green. It's completely different to the color that Mr. Windibank's blood turned in the analysis. It just goes to show things don't always go according to plan, do they? Nevertheless, we must add the sample to the results of the other blood analysis. So let's talk to the other constables then.
Maybe he has a camera.
That's what I'm wondering. Police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. And even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime and a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know. A crime and a pawnbroker's.
There's one at the liquor.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh no, he's the...
What about the broken glass in the floor?
Nothing. Let's see. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany. I guess it's like miscellaneous. Isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know. Are you alright, Bruno? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? It must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. But clearly Mr. Windibank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Let's see. Green blood, it just seems wrong somehow. Now, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said, everybody's blood is different. Wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not too confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really, this is a stereoscope. Mr. Sholm showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that he used the big contraption over there. Ah well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. It would beat keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. No, I don't think he's going to tell us anything else. Let me see. I don't know if... maybe... Let's look at Baker Street really fast. There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Windibank's. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Iris, she's very upset by all this. I'm sorry, I was there, I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Bruno, so please don't apologize. But it's the criminals who are to blame for all this, so let's investigate and work that out past them. Yes, you're right. Let's see. No, let's see if there's any update. Nope. No. So, are we just... I guess there's something we're missing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that there's those cameras, but I can't find them. Because didn't he have them positioned all the way around the...
The thing is, I don't think we could see them the day before either. So I'm not really... Let's ask her about her manuscript. Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholm said he deposited it at Windibank's, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yes, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely is the reason, but I can't. Okay.
You can converse with her anymore?
I don't think so. Usually it gives you like a sign, like... Let's go back into the storeroom and just make sure there wasn't something we missed.
You already clicked on the gun?
Yeah. Was there something we missed here? Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. Well, it doesn't look like there was anything we missed here. Time to see him drink. Something we didn't investigate? Is there any place we didn't go to yet?
So in Sholmes' suite, are we able to go look at his desk to see if we could find a blood sample from him so we would know it was him?
Oh, let's see. Doesn't look like.
Well,
Let's look at this violin really fast. Now this really is Mr. Sholmes' faithful performing partner then. The Stradivar, the Strappy Scar, the Scrappy Farius. No, it's no good, it's gone. Stradivarius. The virtuoso's violin that he found in a pawnbroker's and managed to buy for next to nothing. I hope Hurley gets well soon. I miss hearing his violin playing already. Oh, Iris, I'm sure he will. Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk. It's completely clear. Looks totally different without that enormous machine on it. Hurley lives in an absolute mess all the time. He never notices when things go missing. Even Mr. Sholmes must have noticed that huge lump of metal is no longer there, surely. Did we go back in the attic at all?
that didn't look like that before.
I don't think so. Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. Now then, let's see. No, what did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With this special concoction I've developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No, that's not allowed either. But I'm sure it's something important. Little geniuses sure can be mischievous.
Wait, wasn't that a blue clue that you were just on the other door?
Well, it was something we can examine, but I'm pretty sure that's just to go down to the suite, Sholmes' suite. I don't think it's an actual clue. Yes. Is there anything that? Do you mind if I showed you this?
Yeah, sure.
I don't really like boring things. I showed her the pawnbroker's ticket. Sheena, I showed her that. The way you can identify differences in people's blood like this is amazing. You really are a genius, Iris. I know, I am. If Hurley and I put our minds to it, we could really shake up Britain's chemists and alchemists. And you could shake up Japan's lawyers and judges, couldn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, for sure, even if I didn't intend to. No, it'll be obvious if we converse with her again. Because usually there's some kind of preceding dialogue. I feel like we're missing something in the storeroom. I know we already talked with him about everything.
Should we show him the blood stuff, the blood portfolio?
I think we tried already. Showed the manuscript. I'm pretty sure we showed the representation papers to him. Yeah. Like even again, I think we did. I don't see why I'd have to show him this. Yeah. What are we missing? So we did get everything.
Maybe in the street, are we missing something? The bad guys running away?
Yeah, let's check the street again. It's already been 2 months since we've been taking lodgings here up at Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. When Hurley comes back home, let's have a big party. That's a great idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it was a good idea. Check Baker Street just in case. It's outside of the scene. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just feel like...
Our table didn't look like that before, did it?
I'm sure it did. Desk's already starting to look messy. Hurley's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mr. Sholmes. I wonder. You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know. The path to true mess is long and arduous, it seems. It's spring at last, and the weather's warmer now. Like, the thing is, I feel like we could have looked at this earlier in this case, so I don't really know if anything here will be like a vital clue. How about some tea? Thanks, Iris. I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is paradise for a true tea lover. If you're short, you know, I always have plenty whenever you're feeling thirsty. So this is a tea set that Miss Susato brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Susie's lovely green tea has had quite an impact on Hurley, you know. He stopped putting milk and sugar in his coffee, even. And Hurley is normally bitterly opposed to bitterness. That spade has been here since we started renting the place. Bruno, that's not a spade, it's a shovel. Ah, you're a shoveler, are you? I had a feeling you'd pick me up on that. Oh no, a pick is something else entirely. Now I've dug myself into a deeper hole. Okay, they just did a bit about shovels and spades. Did not see that coming.
What's that closet door?
That's not a closet.
What is it?
That goes down to... No, I've never seen inside... Oh, it's Mrs. Sato's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's your room like? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same the world over. We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind there. The prawns we put in there are doing really well, and the anemones, too. Apparently, tanks like those were very popular in London before I was born. Oh, you mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. I can believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun for a while. But I think probably when we started to find better ways to clean and filter, that they're... I mean, they still get sold the world over. Like to this day. Okay, so... I mean, I kind of figured since we could inspect this room, like, when the case started, I doubt there'd be anything there. Same with Sholmes Suite. Come to think of it, I haven't seen you doing much writing recently, Iris. There's paper already set up at the typewriter, I noticed, as if you're about to start. I'm a little bit stuck for a new story idea, actually. Well, you can consider using What Happened to Mr. Natsumi, perhaps. Oh yes, it's a fabulous idea, and a great title has just popped into my head as well. The Adventures of the Caddy Man. How's that, Runo? So... They're all mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beefsteak from La Carnival would be on display here. Hurley says that Waggy is a memento too. What? How? He tried really hard to get the little fellow to stay on those shelves at first. But he had to give up in the end. Waggy just wouldn't keep still. Yes, funny that. But I think it just means that she's sleeping or gone. Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe you must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. What is it, Iris? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Gina could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my. Why would you do something like that? It would only make the situation worse. Calm down, Bruno. I was just only joking, of course. Oh. Well, you had me worried there. I thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words, Iris. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight your words carry. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I suppose a light-hearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would just have thrown his head back and guffawed. I'm not entirely sure that's helpful, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, anyway, looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. We should try to make progress with our investigation in the meantime. Yes, come along then, Reno. Come along, Susie. Okay, well, we know there's nothing to do yet. I mean, it's not a loss. So there's something we just haven't figured out in this crime scene. Poor Ginny. This is all my fault, really. But she'll be alright, won't she? In court tomorrow, I mean. I'll defend her with everything I've got. So, she'll be alright, won't she? Am I that bad at instilling confidence?
I want to figure out what we need, but I'm getting tired.
Because it's like we've inspected everything. I mean, he had a check mark, but I'm pretty sure he's going to say the same thing as the other guy. Yeah.
And they won't let you look at the counter he's at and stuff. What about those shovels? No?
Nope. See if there's something I haven't shown her yet. I mean, I already showed her that, but... yeah. So now there's no use for it. We got that. Pretty sure I did this and it was boring. Well, let's show her my armband. Okay. Mr. Windibank appears to have used the back of this photograph to write out a redemption ticket. It's written very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had to use anything he had on hand. It's hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Wagahai. I always thought the cats like to curl up inside under the heated Kutatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe Burr's cats are different. Actually, now we have both pictures. I could have another go at viewing them as a stereoscopic image.
I wonder if we have to do this and something.
So I need to cross my eyes and try to get the two cats to merge in the middle of this one. It's such a hard thing to do. Whoever thought of this in the first place must have spent a long time staring. I have the pictures. And there was nothing else. There. Let me try one more thing. Nope. Well, maybe next time we play, we'll have had enough time in between that something will just come. Yeah, for now, we were kind of stumped as to how to proceed, but proceed we shall. Alright. Appreciate anyone watching.